I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Xaereth Prevails, a Grand Arena story. We're in the finals today, folks, and there's a lot of really cool counters. We're gonna jump in. So here's the situation. Facing someone named Vincent Laserbrain, and he's got a decent lifetime in the past. You can barely see it here, folks, which is what he said, or she said. Someone said something like that. I do have more GP than my opponent, though. Not by too much. 500k. I never really noticed that when one direction or another when I was in the last GAC style. So hopefully that's not going to be a deal breaker here. Looking at mods, I do have a mod advantage. Not an enormous mod advantage, though. They have more 6 dots, and they're pretty close in all the other categories. Close enough that it doesn't make a huge difference. The relic levels is a pretty big issue. I do have not quite 200 more, but I have a significant number more relics than my opponent, and that's in I think that's more important in the tier 9, 7, 8, and 9 categories, so I do have an advantage there. Now look at my defenses here, folks. If you need to pause it, you can for a little bit, but one thing that I'm trying is BB-8 and R2-D2 together with Ray. I want R2-D2 to gain that unique ability from R2 and get a bunch of extra offense, so to make it a little bit tougher for Sith Eternal to counter her. So that being said, you can see I split Maul off of Lord Vader as well. He's on his own team. And I saved Padme for no reason, just mostly because the team sucks. Especially without R2-D2, the whole team is not very good. So, nothing too great. My opponent's defenses, his bottom front, the one I have to clear first, we have the Palpatine team with Mara. That's a pretty quick Darth Vader right there. There's also a Darth Revan team, inexplicably without Darth Talon in it. I don't know what they were doing. I think Darth Talon would have priced me out. I would have had to use something a little more dramatic. They have a Qui-Gon team with Jedi Revan, which is a little bit scary, because Jedi Revan's going to trigger Savior once we try to kill Qui-Gon, though there is something to that I'll show you guys in a little bit. I'll show you how I countered it. And then a Grievous team with BB-8. That's going to be a tricky one to beat because we can't really spare Night Sisters. We also have Maul with a pretty weak Mandalorian team. Honestly, without much punch. They'd be much more convincing if they were relicked. There's a Nute team, which is like standard these days. It even has Asajj in it for some reason. And then, I mean, the reason is you can see the zone, or the squad directly above, with Talzin, Night Sisters, and Nest. There's also a Mothra team with Kyle Katarn. So lots of cool characters. My opponent normally sets 3 Galactic Legends, and when I scouted him, obviously there were 3 when I saw people attacking, but there aren't any showing right now, so we have to proceed with extreme caution here. Extreme caution. Before we jump into the actual fighting, folks, just want to remind you that if you want to support the channel for free, all you've got to do is hit that like button or leave a comment in the comment area. We're trying to mount the algorithm. We're getting so close to 10K. Please contribute to that. I would really appreciate it. Trying to climb up on the algorithm and get more views, get more clicks, etc. And so if you haven't already, please consider subscribing and or dinging that stupid bell that I've never dinged in my life. So don't actually bother doing that. So let's actually jump to the fighting, shall we? And here we are, the same old familiar situation. We're using our troopers, because my troopers are faster than Darth Revan. So here we are. Everything's been sped up a bit, of course, just as usual. We've got Ando raiding me in the middle of this fight, of course. But trying to take out the Sith Empire Trooper, only gear 12 on Sith Empire Trooper. And now, because their Marauder hasn't, the Marauder hasn't really dialed up that much, I decided to just kill Basti right quick. And keep in mind that Marauder's defense is stacked right now because of all the different buffs that we have. So that being said, we still want to take Marauder out here. I'm trying to figure out exactly what to do. Look at the turn meter on all the different characters. Really wanted to make sure that we get the kill there before we actually did anything unwise against Malik. So now Malik is basically alone. We don't want to really hurt Darth Revan that much, because Darth Revan will just pass the turn to Malik, who will then go. So Revan goes last, and apparently I dropped a banner. Oh yeah, that's because Marauder went and took a little slice out of my Dark Trooper. Now, this one is an interesting one, folks. I'm going to pause for 1 second. I did a video on this earlier, I think it was yesterday, but this one bears notice. If you guys haven't seen this, I assume that some of you haven't. So the idea is that Zam is going to make everyone faster, and that's great. That's wonderful. We want to get our contract. We want to kill Anakin before Qui-Gon is taken out. The idea is that Bossk he gives so much defense and protection and everything that we can take an AoE from Anakin in our current state. We just have to be careful, because Jedi Revan is going to add a wrinkle to this, because whenever we trigger Savior, then he's like, if we try to kill Qui-Gon, we'll trigger Savior. We might also get Anakin out of whatever control situation we have, and so we need to be able to have Mando shoot Anakin and continue on. Now, the only other issue here is, because Zam makes everyone so much faster, it makes the Mando speed considerably different. Like, the speed ratio is way different, and he's clocked wrong. I need to slow him down so that Bossk can go, he can do his taunt, Grief will go and call the mass assist, and then Bossk can go. Mando gains 30% turn meter, Bossk gains 15% turn meter, plus another 100% turn meter on top of that because of the frenzy. And then Mando, it needs to go after Bossk because Bossk wants to call one more mass assist. However, that's not how it works, because Mando is, after the equation, faster because Zam has made them all faster. Fennec does 5 hits on her basic, so that's why we're taking her. Not to mention she's an absolute boss, so not to be confused with Bossk. And yeah, while my past self is doing that, I'm gonna actually raise my chair a little bit. There we go. Pretty fancy. Raising the chair live. So here we go. We got the taunt. We call the mass assist from Grief. This is the right turn order. But watch, look at Mando. Look how Mando already has a bunch of turn meter. He's going to gain 30%. Bossk will gain 15%. Okay, Anakin did his AoE, and that's fine. And then Mando, see, Bossk should go, but Mando gained too much turn meter. I need to slow him down. So now I did target Anakin there for some reason. And we're at 80, now we're at 90%. And I'm trying to figure out, like, so it's Omicron Zam, and I didn't want to trigger Anakin's hit again. But now we did. Now they don't have a taunt. They don't have any taunts. So now we can hit Anakin and as long as we hit Anakin, ooh, they targeted Mando and killed him once. That's scary. So if we target Anakin, though, we're not going to trigger bonus turns from him. So we're just trying to cycle through our turns. You can see Mando had his cooldowns increased after he got his contract. So we have to wait one more turn for all this to work out. Remember, we can't kill a Jedi until Qui-Gon is removed, except if we use some kind of annihilate ability, such as this disintegrate. So we killed Anakin. Now we still have to kill Qui-Gon. And once we do, of course, then we super buff everyone. Now, one other thing to keep in mind, folks, whenever one of them hit 1% health at some point, I think it was Ayla or Anakin, that triggered Savior, because Savior just triggers whenever a character gets to 1% health. So under Qui-Gon lead, like, it's still nothing. I mean, you get them to 1% health. You can't kill them. You can't defeat them. So you just have to You can still bring him to 1% health, and that's going to trigger Saviors, so that's kind of a loophole, actually. It's a little bit silly. People were pointing that out in the video when I showed it, so I'm not going to take credit for that observation, but it is a very interesting thing. And now, keep in mind, guys, like, notice how much damage Fennec is doing. She just gallops to the end there, to the final destination. It's actually pretty inspiring. Watch how much damage she does. She just boots Ayla from start to finish, just takes her out. Madness. 65 banners, max banners here, and we're off to a good start. This is a tricky team to navigate. A lot of different things happening there, mechanics in play, and so now we're using Bad Batch, and check this out, folks. So I did the math, and so Echo goes first. He was going to go before Vader, but because there were no buffs to dispel, Vader is going to go between Echo and Tech, just barely. But it's a little bit scary because he's going to do his AoE, and if anyone didn't gain that daze, then the entire Palpatine squad is going to take all their turns. So a little bit scary, but because they all have daze, it doesn't matter. And now we stun everyone. We try to double stun everyone with Wrecker. Didn't actually land it on Mara, but that should be okay. Hunter goes next. He hands the turn to Echo. Echo can then go and call the mass assist from Hunter. Or it's not a mass assist, but, you know, Hunter doing his thing. Omega finishes him off, and we get another 65. Only works if your Echo goes first, though. So people running that comp probably need to make a faster Vader, frankly. Now we've got Commander Luke. I debated this for a while. This is overkill. Commander Luke is such a versatile team. It's hard to justify wasting it on a team like this. But the thought is, if he has 3 Galactic Legends in the back, Lord Vader is almost certainly one of them. That's the one he's consistently set every time. And if he's done that, we may need Supreme Leader Kylo to counter Lord Vader. And therefore, we don't want to waste our Night Sisters. Our Night Sisters need to be available for that counter, even though I would have loved to take out his General Grievous team here. It's pretty imperative that we're able to... just... yeah, do this. That we're able to preserve the team. Commander Luke isn't used for any of our off-meta counters or anything. I mean, he'd be instrumental for sure, depending on what Galactic Legend, but those Night Sisters are more important. Even though Night Sisters are like a 91 or 92% win rate against that specific Grievous comp, and probably my Night Sisters are a little better even, just because I know how to do that. It's still not too bad. So, okay, they had a Bando team in the back. They had something else good, and then they had a Lord Vader team, in case you missed it. So, we're going up top first. Had to figure out how many teams we have to... So we have to counter, what? Another 7 teams. So we're using Mothra with Relic 5 Kyle Katarn. And so the idea is... you know, we're going to get debuffed and everything. They're going to get all their stuff going. But once we start our turn meter train in true, like we're going to be mostly unstoppable. So yeah, everyone is stealthed, so we can target one person, and summon Worthless Guy decided to take out Dooku because Dooku's that guy who is able to... he's able to hit us back, but because we weren't using an actual attack ability against him, he wasn't going to be able to counter. But I mean, and then we just melted him, basically. It was pretty fancy of us, if you ask me. So, okay, we kill Nute once, and then Jango is still in... he's still in hiding, or whatever. He's still hanging out, and, you know, it... so now we just hang... I think I sped it up at this point. Maybe not. I'm not sure. But we need Jango to take a turn, obviously. But he won't take a turn if we keep the turn meter loop going. So the way we interrupt that is just use basics, and he'll eventually gain enough turn meter to actually go. You can see that Kyle Katarn is in fact a Jedi. And one of the nice things about him being a Jedi is the fact that he is able to buff the whole team pretty nicely. So 65, we didn't get to use any of our fancy moves, but we still got there. 65, good banners. And we've got 6 teams left to beat. And what I'm doing here, okay, so here let's pause for one sec. This is the title team. So they've got a Night Sisters squad, and they're not super high relic, but Nest is going to complicate things. So the idea here is I don't really have a final team. We have 6 teams we have to counter. I have 5 teams, 5 real teams to go, but I know I had Watt available. So the idea here is Finn is going to buff the whole team. He gives everyone who isn't resistance 30% extra offense. He also gives them extra potency on top of that, 30% potency. So Wampa and Boba are both going to be helped with that. We have Holdo, who has a lot of health. I've modded her for a lot of health, which is the thing that we have to guard against with these against Night Sisters. So Talzin, so Holdo is going to get the tank tech, and then we'll put the weapons tech on Wampa. I took Boba because we didn't need him for that bounty hunter counter previously, and he's relic 8, and he's really well modded. So may as well take him, and as long as he can do his execute, he's going to be able to take out Night Sisters here and there and be able to permanently kill them. All of this combined, we can probably land some kind of a debuff on Nest and be able to take her down. At the very least, we can ramp up a lot of damage from Wampa and slowly and eventually just one-shot her. So that's the idea, at least. And Finn can also build up his damage as well against Nest. So, this one it can take a little bit, honestly, but, we get Boba here. He applies that ability block on Nest, which is nice, I suppose. Takes a little bit. I should probably put some relics on Wampa. I need to remod him, is what I need to do. He's more of like a tenacity, a creature who wants tenacity, but tenacity and offense. He's actually very similar to Commander Luke here. So I did put the 3rd tech on Boba just for fun, and Boba went. He made Spirit just totally disappear, which is fun. And now they can't revive him via Old Daka or Talzin. Spirit's just gone. She gone. So one unforeseen consequence, guys, is I forgot that Finn is also a tank. But he's a pretty good lead for this kind of team. This is why I called it Build-A-Bear, because that's totally what we're doing here. We're just building. We're constructing the team as we see fit, because Watt is just so versatile. He's like, okay, I need an attacker. Okay, I need a tank. Okay, what kind of leadership can we get? Great, is there any other additional characters that we could use? Ooh, look at that. So, Boba did like 100, or did like 1,000,000 damage to Talzin. Was that right? Or was it like 100,000? I don't know. He did a lot of damage with his execute. Pretty dang fancy. And so we want to take out the rest of the Night Sisters before we start really working on Nest, though we did want to get all of Nest's protection down so that we could find the right timing to be able to get a good one-shot from either Boba or Wampa. So, meanwhile, Old Doc is gone, and now we can... Oh, apparently I put a transition in there, but yeah, now we're going to go really fast because it takes a lot longer. This is a frustrating process. So we got to kill Zombie here. Goodbye, Zombie. And now we keep hitting Nest, but we can't apply healing immunity to her, unfortunately. We can stun her with Finn, and remember, every time we do that damage with Finn, we're actually able to ramp up damage. So his big hit is actually able to do more and more damage as the fight continues. So Nest doing some real damage to Holdo, of course, because we're buffing ourselves. Nest is a tough little creature. I don't know what word we should be using, but every time, man, I wanted to use that execute from Boba, and it's just not really panning out. I really wanted to, but it's like every time I'm about to, someone goes in and fails to kill Nest. You see, Wampa keeps getting her into red, but we can't quite finish it off. We have Finn for the heal there, and once again, Boba wants to hit a fresh Nest. Like there's 7 debuffs here. I have no doubt that Boba could take her out if he wanted. So, anyways, Wampa did manage to ramp up enough damage to one-shot Nest, and we got some decent banners. We can move on. Now we've got Lord Vader. I wanted to save Lord Vader for a little bit just to see how many teams we really needed. I wanted to just make sure we had all our bases covered. So I used characters I knew I wouldn't really need to counter Lord Vader, and Now we've got Jedi Master Luke. This is, I wouldn't say this is the most automatic win that we can get here, like counter, but we've got Hoda here, and keep in mind, if we call Hoda to assist, he's not only doing damage based off of Jedi Master Luke's protection, Hoda is also he's also healing everyone. He's doing a basic and healing everyone 5% protection and health, which is helpful against a Lord Vader comp who's constantly taking you down. So, killed Royal Guard, killed TIE Fighter Pilot, which I'm guessing TIE Fighter Pilot is there just to guard against like Shock T shenanigans, like the Shock T troopers. I actually think that if I had them modded that way, it would have worked just fine anyways, because they didn't have a second fast character. You need 2 fast characters with Lord Vader if you want to protect against that trooper team. But well, look at Stormtrooper. He's only gear 12. Well, was, because now he's dead. But now we're going to try to take out Stormtrooper. And look at this. Lord Vader still hasn't even popped his ult yet because of reasons. I mean, we just killed his team too fast because he didn't take a good team. Keep in mind, guys, if you want Lord Vader to be bad, and I know that my opponent's going to watch this, so I'm not trying to be a jerk here, but just keep in mind, if you want your Lord Vader to have poor results, then give him a poor team. If you want him to have good results, then give him a good team. It's not always going to end up in good results, depending on what your opponent is capable of, but just keep in mind that it doesn't always pay to give a discount Lord Vader team. I mean, I think he ends up robbing me of a lot of banners here anyways, so I mean, if his goal was to cost me 5 banners or something, I guess that's, I mean, I'm not trying to be facetious here. I don't think that that's a good idea. Honestly, I think you need good characters. You don't want gear 12 characters. You want high relic Empire characters. That's one of the important things about him, because all those high relics, not only do they keep the whole team alive longer, but when he pops his ult, he's going to get a ton more mastery. And that mastery is really important for what he does. He really wants to get to 2 ultimates if he can. 3, if he gets to 3, then he just basically destroys a Jedi team. So, as it stands, I destroyed him instead. There's a crew team here. So, people were telling me I was foolish to use a full Jedi team here against crew, but I don't have any of my fast Jedi. I don't have any of the Jedi that I really want to use, so they were always going to go first, and just decided, I mean, Jedi Master Luke is good. I figured we could probably do this. People were telling me, like, listen to how I think this is false. You guys can let me know, though. Okay, would Jedi Luke be able to solo this team? I'm almost certain he wouldn't. I think maybe he could make some noise, but at the end of the day, like, they have too much turn meter manipulation. I think that it would be a fiasco and a half to just take Jedi Knight Luke here. So we're taking the full team because I was like, you know what? At this point, I think we'll get good banners here, and one way or another, I want to make sure that we win. And maybe we could have undersized, probably undersized by 1. That would have been fine, but I think I just wanted to make sure that we could actually stomp this team out. We've still got this Bando team left. We've got the Mothra team. So the Mothra team, we're going to use General Grievous on. Keep in mind that this is Kyle Katarn, but only at gear 11. He's 3 stars or 4 stars, something like that. So he's not all he can be yet. But this is a pretty tricky comp. So here's the thing. We want target lock on everyone, but this is also the turn meter comp, right? So they can start getting into a turn meter loop. It can get messy. The only thing that's nice about Grievous is eventually you break into that turn meter loop. That it's not a perfect loop against Grievous, because if you do end up killing one of the droids, then Grievous is going to get his AoE, and at that point you've broken the cycle. So plus that Kyle Katarn isn't too crazy, nothing too great. So all right. Got the 62, because Grievous went and stole some banners at the very end, even though he didn't need to go. He was like, I'll just take a turn. All right, we've got this Bando team. And keep in mind, we only had 3 Galactic Legends on offense, so we had 3 on defense as well. We had the best Galactic Legends on defense, in fact. And so Now we're just hanging out with Sith Eternal, just waiting, just waiting. There's a couple points of danger here. So the shock can prevent me from healing. It won't prevent me from gaining protection. And then healing immunity, which we have right now from Bando, is probably the scariest part. But we can get rid of that if we want to relink. Then we'll take 2 turns in a row and get rid of it. So we still haven't popped our ult yet, but that's coming eventually, as you can see. We're getting there. Got the ult, and we can relink, but I don't have any characters to help me like regenerate any protection or anything. So may as well just fry Bando and IG. Those are the 2 threats. And now these guys aren't going to be able to do enough damage. So we can just kind of hang out and fry some Wookiees or do what we want. I mean, we're not going to be able to regenerate our protection now because we're in ultimate stance. But we'll probably be able to regenerate our health at the very least. So, you know, Zalbar's like, hey, hit me. And Sith Eternal's like, sure, why not? Why not grab some more protection while we're at it, just to play with our food just a tiny bit, you know, just destroy them out of spite, etc. Kind of fun to do a crit on Queel there, because IG was gone and get 68 banners. Nice to get a high banner win there. And with that, I think we might be at ships. Are we at ships? No, okay, we've got Maul left, that's right. And I think I took Supreme Leader Kylo with the 2 officers just so we could get the stun. We hand the turn to him again, we can do the AoE. And then Hux is going to go, he'll hand the turn to Kylo. And Kylo pokes Maul in the chest for a 67, and we can move along. I didn't think it was going to be quite that dominant, but not that surprising either. If you make your officer just a little faster than Hux, then officer's going to go first. That way you can do the poke, then the swipe, then the poke again if you want to do it that way. So he's got this Executor, guys, and so check this out. He's got Executor, and he's got Executrix, both of the executes here. But look at this comp on Executor. It's got IG 2000 here instead of Xanadu Blood. Apparently, this is supposed to be an anti-Malevolence comp, and I do owe my viewer iZeta thanks, because he suggested that instead of using my standard Malevolence, Malevolence counter to this team, we could use Rebels, and as long as we can kill IG 2000 right away, because we're fast enough, then the rest of it's kind of a cakewalk. So that's what he said. I was like, you know what? After a long time of debating, I was like, let's try it. So Biston's gonna go, and we shoot IG a little bit, and then target lock is on him. Call an assist from Biggs, and there we go. IG 2000's gone. Now we see if that's actually accurate. We want to see if we can actually make it happen. So Biggs is close-ish to death, so just heal him a little bit and watch all the debuffs that they inflict on us. We just dispel them automatically after we get to 3 because we have Falcon plus Home 1 here. So Biggs had 4 there, disappeared, and now we can actually call Cassian in. No one's Houndstooth isn't taunting because they're not able to keep a breach applied. And so we just nuke Cad Bane, which is fancy, and then you can see Razor Crest is not doing too hot. Do the wiggle with the Falcon to make sure that he's not targeted randomly. And so we can cleanse the breach on Biggs, so then we can dispel the taunt on Tauntaun on Bossk. I don't know what words are coming out of my mouth, guys, but so we still have Slave 1 coming in, which we're trying to get rid of Bossk, obviously, but they haven't done much damage to us, actually. After you take out that IG 2000, man, it's just a period of calm. So we can dispel all the nonsense from Slave 1, get in another tank. I decided to save the big hit from Y-Wing so that he could do it on Houndstooth if necessary, but I mean, I guess we can see if it's necessary. I don't remember if I actually did manage to do it or not. He's pretty close to death anyways, so do the wiggle one more time, regenerate, and take out that Houndstooth, 73 banners. That is the soft max. That's like an old school 66. And super big kill there. Ridiculous, in fact. So now we're fighting Executrix. I have Malevolence. Yay! We have Malevolence available. So just try to get buzz droids on their bomber. It's not rocket science. Just get buzz droids on it. And there it goes. We can get the stun on Vader there for funsies because he's got a buff on him. And if they don't call him Stunfac for nothing. And now, normally I don't like to call Spy here. Normally, because they could do an AoE and mess everything up. There's a really low gear Gar Saxon, by the way, guys. Really low gear. I think he's like gear 8 or 9 on both of the characters. So he doesn't have much resilience, though. I mean, if he gets a turn, he can dispel things. He's no slouch, but he's also no good either. That you'll have that. And then Scimitar just gets WTF pwned. 71 banners, and Fleet's pretty dominant score there, guys. So here's the final result, at least on my end. 1730. See if we can actually pause it at the right time. Let's see. Go pause it. Okay, 1730. Soft max is 1747. So I dropped 17 total banners, and I figured he would probably drop that many on just my Malevolence alone. So let's see what the actual F happened. He did make his attacks. Let's see what happened. And here it is, folks. He could not clear that bottom zone. He had a fail early on, and I talked to him a little bit. He said that he failed on something. I don't remember what now. And so he was just messing around with the rest of them. So who knows? So the Beskar team stands firm. It's got Nest in it and Veteran Han. And then we also got a hold. Where's that? Whoa, that's apparently 4 total fights to get through my Lord Vader team. The other 2 teams did not fare as well, so that's fine. He had 5 Galactic Legends to counter me, so, I mean, we did pretty well. And then we have Strawberry Head Maul with Traya got a hold, and we got a hold with Palpatine, Vader, Death Trooper, Shore Trooper, and Gear 11 Mara Jade. And so we won. We went 3-0. Hooray for that. We're at 7-2 now. Final thoughts. I need to remod my bounty hunters for Zam. Just need to slow down Mando. That's it. Just slow down Mando. And I don't know how much I have to do the formula. I have to do I'll do a video on it. I'm actually making a spreadsheet for it, so everyone can plug their numbers in. It's going to be fancy AF. But otherwise, we have Watt as well. I love that if you don't need Watt to babysit one of the Galactic Legends, he just builds his own team. He builds a bear. It is so cool. One of my very favorite things to do in this game. Love using Watt to just construct his own random team based off of what he needs, what special situation he needs. It's just super fun. Finally, how high can I climb? I gained a bunch of skill points. I can't get into contention for the top spot this time, unfortunately, but I want to see. The cool thing about this whole setup is the fact that I'm able to, even if I fail a couple times early on, I'm not completely out of contention. I'll just keep building in skill, and eventually I'll get matched up with some really good players. Even if I go 2-1 forever, eventually I'll get to the point where I'm at toward the very top if I can keep going 2-1 against increasingly good players. So we'll see, guys. Just slowly chisel away at our opponents and see where it goes. I'm gonna let you go though, folks. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you like what was your favorite fight of this match? It's a lot of fun. We've got week 4 ahead of us, and then we'll be doing a lot of good recap stuff. We talk about Omicrons, which ones we should apply in the off season, etc. Do some modding videos. It'll be fun. So guys, thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Xaereth prevails.